you can't love someone until they love themselves. Eventually what happens is that's an indicator of a limiting belief.
Okay, yeah.
And what's going to happen is they're going to sabotage the relationship. If someone doesn't love themselves.
Because they don't feel they're worthy of it.
Exactly. And they're going to prove themselves right either way.
It's a good day for a good day. Sending big love in a big way, yeah.
Actress, life and dating coach, Natalie Stavola is on the pod, everyone.
Yes, she is.
What's
She's here.
going on?
It's been a minute.
It has been a long minute.
It has.
Now, correct me, in the last year, did you do like a horror movie, a comedy movie, and an action movie?
Yes. And then I want to say like a rom-com as well too. A short.
Well,
that one was a short though. That one was Away Home. We've gotten into a couple more film festivals.
Wow.
So that's fun. I do a
great.
lot where I play like the girlfriend or the wife, and usually something where I'm like, I'm upset at you and you need to pull your head out of your
You're the go-to. You're the go-to. You've done something wrong to me as the wife or the girlfriend.
Yes. So in turn, I've done something wrong to you too.
Yes,
but,
well, I assume.
it's just oh my God, I think that's like every character.
Yes. That's great though, because you have a stereotype. Like, we want this kind of person. Boom, let's go to Natalie.
Yeah.
But now we have the strike going on, so there's not much work going on.
I mean, kind of.
You
yes
still
and
have,
no.
because you get the waivers and stuff that you're on?
Exactly. You can get the interim waivers. You can do that. Here's the thing how I feel about it. I'm actually super excited that we've got the strike. I want to hear how you feel about it. But at the same time, it was like, I didn't know this because I love indies. I've done indies for such a long time. You know, that's how we met.
Yeah.
And I'm a big indie person. And also like, I've done some co-stars and things like that. What I didn't know was like my little co-stars, and I've done some other things too, of course, but I had like a co-star on Bird Notice, and that co-star afterwards, my residuals was making more money than someone who's a lead on Orange is the New Black.
Because Bird Notice was on like what, USA or TNT or TBS?
Yeah.
Orange is the New Black was on Netflix, right? When
Yeah.
the first show, they all got screwed
I can't
money-wise.
believe it. And so I didn't know that. I thought that as an actor in this industry, that it's just, you just got to hustle and pay your dues and then you'll do it. And then what was happening is that a lot of actors weren't talking about it. They weren't speaking up because it was very like, hey, just do what you got to do. We got to survive. And also the writers. I know a lot of writers that they created these huge epic shows and they can't even afford a 1-bedroom.
I know. Isn't that crazy to think that? Because of the streamers, a lot of times the model they had set up is all in. The network or that streamer company pays you one-time fee, and then in perpetuity, they own your ass.
Right. You owned. You owned.
You own, yo.
You like in a toxic, abusive relationship. You just own. And a lot of people were like, how does life and dating coaching go with acting and filmmaking? How does it not?
How does it not? What a great segue. Yeah, Sarah, how did you get into the life and dating coach?
Trauma. Is this thing on?
Exactly.
I got trauma.
yeah.
No, I came from a really wonderful Irish-Italian family. That didn't make me have trauma, but how we handled things did.
Yeah.
And I just kind of saw growing up, like, relationships. I've always loved love. Like I was big on, I'm a bleeding heart. And it wasn't just relationships. It was like the whole world, And if anyone's seen my stuff, I'm very like my heart could bleed. So I was always helping people and I was always, giving them advice, doing this. And I wound up getting a degree in psychology because in my family, I wasn't allowed to be a filmmaker.
Oh yeah.
So I was sneaking it on the side. I was driving down from FSU down to Miami.
Florida girl.
Yes. I mean, originally Connecticut. So East Coast too.
East Coast, as long as you keep it,
exactly.
East Coast
just the
also.
whole side. So shout out Pepe's Pizza if anyone knows that one. So I would be driving. I would drive 7 to 9 hours on the weekend just to do acting classes, just to do auditions, just to do little parts and pieces. And
when I met you, you were nonstop working. Like you were always on something.
Yeah.
So you have that drive. That's the fire that you need to survive as an actor in Hollywood. Is you have to have that desire where you're going to just work because you want to work. You are a working actress and you just are always working on something. That's great. Some people are like, no, I'm going to wait for the perfect role. You know what I'm saying? I'm only going to wait for the lead role on something because that's going to make you don't realize that most people, it takes them a while to get to where they are. Sometimes you can get lucky if you're 12 and you the perfect role for like a Spielberg movie, then, you make a cast without having any training. But for that, other than that,
I will say this though. What I actually learned too was my hustle though was being driven by a fear.
Oh.
Yeah.
Not a bustle.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not a bustle. A lot of hustle and bustle. And what was happening was that it was like what that would do. And it's the same way, like even when I coach clients on how you date and how you get into relationships. When it's ruled by an insecurity or by a fear underneath, you actually wind up aligning with and attaching to and jumping on projects or jumping into situations or relationships that are actually awful for you.
Really?
Yeah. I haven't seen you in a while, but like I wound up getting sober. We worked on a project together. I jumped in on that. I don't know what happened to that. I wound up shortly after hitting a bottom for me, crashing, burning, getting sober. And I had to learn how to sit still.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Because you were so used to.
Yes. But because I was being driven and ruled by financial insecurity that I wasn't going to make it as an actress, scared that I, wasn't good enough, or I wasn't pretty enough, or I wasn't talented enough. And that would also get me involved in really toxic, abusive relationships too. So I'd start to get some success. I'd start to do well. And then all of a sudden, because secretly underneath, I hated myself, wasn't doing well, had alcoholism, had addiction, I'd wind up attaching to a toxic relationship, and that would knock me out. And I would wind up curled up in the corner, crying, all that, and then rinse and repeat. And so it took getting knocked on my butt.
Yeah.
And finally taking a hard look at that. And then it was okay, now making decisions. Is this in alignment with me?
Right.
Does this serve me? Who are the people around me? And I know you know this as a filmmaker. You know when you hire someone and there's something inside of you that goes, this person's a little off, and you feel it, but you're like, oh, but I don't know. Maybe that makes him a hustler. Maybe that makes him this. And then you watch as the project falls apart, or someone's overspending money, or the director doesn't come through, or he hires the wrong DP. And then that project will wind up flopping or not doing well, or taking 3 years. Now you have to raise more money for post-production, and or the actors are X, Y, and Z. It's so synonymous. Your career and your relationships are parallels.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't realize. And also the tricky thing for someone like you, when I met you, even though you said you were in a spiral, whatever it was, you handled yourself so perfectly. I had no idea. Somebody else thinking, this girl's, out of control, steering, where's she going?
Yeah.
No, you'd seem like somebody who was on it. I remember you would get to the set, you would do your stuff, you boom, but you go into the next thing you're off to, because I think you're working on another project at the same time. So I'm like, wow, this girl, she's got it going on.
I'm a hustler. That part I still do like. That part I will say that I am still like that. After this, I've got coaching sessions, and I got a meeting, and then I got this, and then I'm producing some projects too now. I started stepping more into producing and acting and writing too. So
good outlet.
It's so good. So I still have that, but now there's just more pause and more okay, wait a minute. What am I saying yes to?
Yeah.
That way it's not that overworking for nothing, but that intentional.
Speaking to the word saying yes to, what are 3 qualities in a woman that a man should look for?
Emotional availability and maturity.
Okay.
You want to find someone that's in alignment with that. So if you're looking for casual, find someone looking for casual.
Okay.
If you're looking for a relationship, do not waste your time if someone says, I'm not really looking for anything, or I'm not sure. I just got out of a relationship.
They're telling you to don't come to me.
Guys might get attached, and you might have a situationship later, and potentially a relationship. But if that foundation was rocky to begin with, they weren't actually emotionally available, you're screwed later on.
Okay.
That will come back to bite you in the butt, because they'll go, oh my God, I told you I wasn't ready.
Right.
And how are we in this? I'm not ready. And then they'll leave. And you're like, what happened? So that's one. Emotional availability and emotional maturity.
Yeah.
Number 2 quality is how they speak about themselves and how they speak about others.
Oh, that's very true. It's very good.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, they're constantly just bitching about everybody else and all that. You know what I'm saying? So I see what you're saying. So those people are kind of not so good to be around, because that's going to come toward you at some point.
Oh, 1,000%. Here's another one too. How they speak about themselves. Oftentimes with guys and with women too. Women have that, I can nurture him and he'll love me and he's never met. And guys have, I could fix her.
Oh.
When you hear a woman say things like, I don't love myself, or I just don't know what I'm doing right now. Oftentimes a guy can feel like, I want to feel like she has a purpose and I have a purpose and I can teach her. Because women love to be taught. Not like that, but a woman wants to learn something. Yes, so does a man, but someone who's already doing the work on themselves. So that's a tricky one. When you hear those things of I don't love myself, they can't take compliments, they push their compliments away, they hate themselves, they don't know what they're doing in life. That is a dead ringer, that if you give them love and they have a bottomless pit, that they're just not filling that trap door themselves and filling themselves up with self-love. You can't love someone until they love themselves. Eventually what happens is that's an indicator of a limiting belief.
Okay, yeah.
And what's going to happen is they're going to sabotage the relationship. If someone doesn't love themselves.
Because they don't feel they're worthy of it.
Exactly. And they're going to prove themselves right either way.
Right. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yes, exactly that.
Good.
And you can't force, you're not their God, you're not their daddy. You ain't the papa.
You may be their sugar daddy, but not their daddy.
You might be their sugar daddy. They might be calling you daddy in bed, but you ain't the
Okay, that's good. Now, that's the third one also?
I don't know. Let's see. That's 2. Number 3 is someone that you feel is a partner, not a project.
Oh, good. That kind of goes back to I can fix this person, or I'm going to mold this person to this thing here. This is going to be perfect. I can then bring them home, show mom and dad.
Yep.
Okay. And so find somebody who's already at that place. You're not planning to do anything. I like this person the way they are.
Yes.
Warts and all.
Do not do potential, because what it is relationships are mirrors. So it's going to reflect in you what's going on inside of you. So you guys as a team are going to be able to go, hey, I did this thing and I didn't do that the best way, or I didn't communicate this the best way because I got triggered here because you said this, that reminded me of my dad. Okay, let me work on that and heal. How can I do better here? And you're going to want a teammate that's going to look at the mistakes as an opportunity for growth and lift you up and go, oh, hey, listen, this is what happened. This is how it made me feel. This is what I did. I'll work on that. Let's do this as a team because I believe in you. I see you. I love you for who you are. We're going to make mistakes. Let's see what that means. Because typically in a relationship, the fears that you face there, the insecurities you face there are directly proportional to what you're also facing in career.
Yeah, it's crazy. I didn't realize that connection was so much there. Wow. When you're coaching these guys, how many of them hit on you?
It's a good question.
Because they want to be like, you're helping them. They're like,
I know.
And you're high. You're like, oh, you know what?
I know.
You
Listen, I have had a couple guys where like, I think they tried to match with me on a dating app.
Oh, that's so funny.
I've had a couple guys that were like, I kind of want to take you on a date. And I was like, listen, you're not going to get me, but I'm going to teach you how to get women like me.
That's nice.
And I have had some clients like that. I also have had some clients where they didn't tell me that. They did not hit on me at all. But then as we work together, because I do like a 90-day coaching program.
Oh, wow.
Any of my new clients, I do a whole transformational program. We find your wounds. We find why you're messing up in your career, how it's applying to your relationship, all of it. So I have had clients where like we were in the, coaching sessions like months in, and they admitted they were like, I was scared that I'd be too attracted to you. But what happens is I become like their mother. It's very much so like, plus I also don't look like this on the coaching sessions.
Oh, okay.
You're not going to get me like, I'm in sweats. I got my glasses on. I rolled out of bed. I DG.
But what about Freud? If you say you look like their mother, if you go to Freudian theory, wouldn't that person then be like, I want to...
Right. Well, no, I don't look like their mother. It's almost I become like a different version.
Oh, okay.
So it'd be like a reparenting.
Okay.
But there is that has happened like one time only where someone did wind up developing feelings for me. And I was like, oh, okay, we got transference. And the only reason why was because I was the first woman in his life that was ever safe. So it was a sign of his growth. But yeah.
What are the main blocks that you see in people?
A lack of acknowledgement that what they've been through actually is affecting them.
Okay, so that's good. So past tragedies or past drama, they're like, oh, that's not a big deal. Say, sure, I had, I was going to say something really bad, but
you're right.
Like,
sure, I've gotten beaten for my whole life.
It's not a big deal. They were thin belts. They weren't thick belts. It's not that big of a deal.
Someone else got a different belt. Yeah, I shouldn't complain that I got belted.
Mine was pure leather. There were no studs on it. No, I'm fine. It didn't. But you're saying that stuff is somehow wow.
Yeah, and you will consistently and continuously walk into things that will pull that out of you, such as people who dismiss you and diminish you too. Let's say that you are someone that dismisses your pain. What happens is you'll wind up being around people, especially on set or filmmaking or any career that you've got. Sure. You'll accidentally pull people in, get around people, get a boss where like, let's say that you say something or you share something and it actually is important. And they're going to go, no, not like that. No, that's not stop talking. Oh, that's not oh my God, you're making it up. You're too sensitive. Jeez, you're so dramatic. You're going to keep getting around people like that over and over.
And those people, they're doing that because
you dismiss yourself. So you're naturally going to vibrate at that frequency and pay attention to, attract in, get attached to people who are also dismissive.
Wow.
Until you go, no, actually, this does matter. I know what I'm doing. And you know what? My dad beating me, it didn't matter the size of the whip. It hurt. I didn't need to do that.
Wow. Now, have you ever done this thing that you're coaching someone on a date and you have like the mic in the ear and you're like, okay, compliment their earrings? Or...
Oh, I would love to do that. That would be so fun. With my coaching clients, like a lot of what I love doing is a huge transformational thing because it takes time. But like I can sit there and tell someone and coach them like, okay, say this, lean this way, do 45% body angle, do this, do that, do that. But it's not going to teach you that like you're just safe being yourself, that mistakes don't really matter because who's meant for you, you will never miss your opportunities. You'll miss it if you don't try,
Right.
But like you're never going to miss what's meant for you. It's just impossible.
Interesting. So like you're familiar with The Game by any chance?
Yes.
Neil Strauss?
Yeah.
So he was talking about there's a guy named Mystery that he was dealing with and they would be pickup artists basically. He would be a pickup artist.
I've had to undo a lot of that.
That's what it sounds like because like a lot of them are told when you walk up to a girl, don't walk straight at her, don't come from behind. You got to go at an angle almost to the side because they're saying, you're going to have to be you. You know what I'm saying? And stop thinking about all these technical things to do. You know, be yourself, but then the version that you're talking about.
Exactly. So when people say, just be authentically you, and you're like, well, what the F does that mean?
Yeah, what if I'm naturally creepy?
Exactly. So that does mean undo the things that you went through.
Right.
Heal the things that you went through, right? Exactly. Because there might be things that you might be overcompensating for, and your fears might be causing you to be either really creepy or not even flirt at all. So yes. Wow. So for the game and for things like that, in any cult-like situation, even conspiracy theories, some conspiracy theories are valid. When they're based in like just solo truth. When they go off the rails and you start going, you're nah. Really? So with the pickup artist stuff, it's based in some truth of like, yes, when we approach a woman from behind, especially in like for years and years and years, a lot of people didn't know that like 80% of women get sexually assaulted, 90% are sexually harassed. When a woman jumps, and anyone too, if you scare anyone, their hearing goes out because they're in fight or flight. So that's why they can't hear you. That's why they'll look at you like, really? What do you want? Because they don't know if you're danger or if you're not yet.
I never knew that. That explains a lot.
Right? I mean, me too. I scare the shit out of people. What it is so there's a lot of it that's based in truth with the pickup stuff. However, what they subliminally teach men is that you're not enough. A woman has so many options. You're nothing. And if you don't do what we say, your chances are out. They also coach a lot of guys and teach guys that if you don't sleep with her on the first night, then she doesn't want you. So it's called last minute resistance. I've had to coach so many clients on undoing the programming because they'll tell you that women just go out there and we have all of our options and we have everything and we're just out here like assholes going, no. That's not the truth. Because if you look at how many dating coaches and how many coaches there are for women, do your research. Women are literally curled up in a corner. We put makeup on. We're taught to compete with other women.
Yeah. Most men in LA also do that.
Also do that too, yeah. You look great. I'll admit the eyeliner I'm not. But what I will say is there's so many similarities between men and women. It's not even funny. It just manifests slightly differently. What we're told and programmed with is slightly different.
Interesting.
But we all are on this planet battling our insecurities and healing from our trauma so we can connect with the right people.
Are clothes important to a man?
If they're important to him. I would say yes, only because when you do start valuing yourself and speaking to yourself better and treating yourself better and you stop verbally whipping yourself.
Self-flagellation.
My dad was right. My mom says you can self-flagellate with words, with all of it, or with people. When you actually do start shifting internally, your external shifts. So when you change internally, your relationships with other people change, how you view the world changes. And also how you treat yourself, what you eat changes, how you take care of yourself changes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That can happen. I think I see a buddy of mine dating a girl who's younger than him, much younger. But it's okay, you know, because they connect, you know, they're. But he's, you know, changed his whole lifestyle of eating and sleeping and all that kind of stuff. So he's like, you know, he wants to live to be 100.
Yeah.
I want to live to be 100. So, you know.
I mean, I'm good to go anytime. I've lived.
Not me. Not me. How do you?
Literally, like, I'm good. I'm done. I have seen some shit. I'm tired. If I went to Mobby, I'm good.
Good for you to have that kind of disposition. I don't have that.
I want to affect change, but I'm also like, you know.
Hey, if my time's up, my time's up. Good for you. That's how like some people are. I'm not there. I'm not there yet. You know what I'm saying? I'm still in fear of dying. So.
Oh yeah. I'm in fear of not living.
Ooh.
I'm in fear of that. I'm not in fear that I'm going to die.
Checkmate.
Right? No, but I hear that because I remember someone sent me that of like, don't be afraid of death. And I was like, this doesn't vibe with me. I'm not afraid of death, mostly because I was trying before I got sober. I was in so much pain.
That's right. Well, you know, speaking of that, I used to have so much fun in my life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? From high school to college I was in Chicago doing comedy. I was out here when I first came doing movies and throwing a lot of parties in this very house for 1,000 people.
Yeah.
And I actually felt after all those parties ended, like, and all those things I'd done, because I'm like, I've lived enough life now. I am really good here. You know, I mean, I'm not going to have any more fun than what I've had already.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to travel as much and do everything.
Like the fun that you have. Yeah. Because I used to do the same thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Doing all the parties, doing all that, having fun living that life. And then it just changes. The things that you value.
Yeah, exactly. Things that you value change. Yeah. And there's no longer, you don't want to go to the club or the house party. You want to go to maybe a small dinner party with the close friends that you have.
Yes.
You know what do you do differently now in a relationship when you look for a guy right now than say 5 years ago, or, you know?
Yeah, it's a lot that's changed. So I'm someone that I used to jump in head first. I didn't see my value. I dated a guy one time and then I was like attached to him and, you know, planting the marriage in my head and didn't mean to.
Right.
I didn't know that I had codependency from childhood and everything. So I had attachment stuff I've had to heal and still it's an ongoing journey. The difference now is I realize that there's a difference between dating and relationships. I used to feel feel very uncomfortable with dating multiple men at a time. I would only date one person at a time because I felt like I was like cheating on him.
Oh, interesting.
And that comes from childhood where I saw that happening. I saw people cheat. And so I was like, oh, I don't want to do that. I would never want to betray someone.
Right.
So I would be so loyal to other people that I was being disloyal to myself.
Oh.
So the difference now is I realize that dating is a vetting system, and these are strangers.
Yeah.
So the first 2 months, it's once a week. And I will say, everyone's got like a new stage and a new like battleground that you face on that one, a new spiritual test for anyone who's spiritual. So mine right now is I have gotten with people where like I start to step into my worth and I start to do better in my career and do all that. And what I'll do is when I start dating, I'm not intentional yet. I'm just kind of, enjoying it. And then I'll get attached to someone, especially if they're like emotionally unavailable. Wow. So I'm still working on like now, and I've gotten away from it and I'll move away from it, but it does trigger my own abandonment wounds and my own wounds. So that's my lesson now is like, I still date once a week, but I've gotten involved and I've gotten into relationships with someone who at first said, I don't know what I want. I don't know what I'm looking for.
Right.
I don't even know if I want a relationship. And I'm like, okay, sure, that's fine because I'm focused on career. And then all of a sudden 2 months in, I'm attached. And as I go to pull away, they're like, wait. I look like this. I'll admit it. I can see that now. And I have a career going for me and I don't want or need someone. I want to be with someone. So I don't have that like clingy energy anymore. I started learning how to date and slow down, but then I would get attached to someone, have that relationship where someone actually said, I'm not available. I'm not emotionally available. I don't know what I want. I don't know if I even want a relationship. And then when I'm pulling away, that's triggering their stuff.
Right.
And then they're going, wait, let's try it. And I go, I'm like, okay. And then we'll try it, but it was never set on a steady foundation. And even though that person might try secretly underneath, they really weren't ready for a relationship. Oh. And so usually 5, 6, 7 months in, blow up in your face. They'll be the ones that sabotage.
Oh, okay.
And I'm turned into like Coach Natalie and I try not to, but I'm watching them sabotage because I'm hearing their limiting beliefs, but I'm painting those red flags green.
That's good. And let me ask you this question now. Can men and women who've dated and break up, can they still remain friends?
You can do that. You need time if there's emotions involved to absolutely dispel those emotions.
I agree with this 100% because I'm friendly with pretty much every girl I've dated.
Yeah. It depends on the relationship you guys had and it depends on if you guys actually do smash the emotions. Because here's the other thing that I had an issue with.
Both have to be in agreement.
Yes, both had to be in agreement. But then again, if you're single, it's fine. My thing that I always said is like, because this actually happened in a previous relationship that I had. He was someone that was seeking a lot of validation and didn't realize he was leading on his ex-women and his ex-situationships. They thought that they were dating him. He was casual. And that's actually how he started. And I had to call him out on that because there were these women who were starting to show up, comment on his stuff, comment on photos of us, be very like forward with flirting with them.
Right.
And he was like, oh, it's just a friend. I was like, hey, listen, I need to know that the safety of this relationship is more important than validation seeking behavior. Because I've been working on that because I used to do that. If I felt inadequate, I would post a thirst trap. You know what I mean? Like I've been toxic.
Okay. I've seen that.
I'm on my healing journey. I can acknowledge that and I can do contrary action because the safety of a relationship that matters to me. He wound up going, no, it's fine. And then that person kept continuously contacting them. So my boundary on this one is if that other person that you were involved with still has feelings for you and wanted more or is still actively doing that or is being disrespectful to your relationship now, you got to close the door on it. Yeah, what you're basically showing your partner is that I really don't care about your safety. Yeah. I don't care about your emotional safety. My validation matters more. And both parties.
What's the difference between showing real interest in someone and love bombing someone?
I love these questions. You were like, wow. Okay. So love bombing someone is within the first 2 weeks, especially like first month, when someone doesn't know you, you're talking to them almost every day.
Yeah.
And you're feeling like an adrenaline rush when they're talking to you and you're messaging. So you're almost getting high. That's a sign for you to know that you're starting to get high off that person and you're not allowing yourself to emotionally crash and then emotionally regulate.
Right.
So you're not viewing this through a good lens. You were viewing it through an addict lens. It feels so good. I want more. Hit me.
Yeah.
And when they don't know you and they're complimenting you a lot and kind of saying things like, oh my God, I've been waiting for you my whole life. I can't believe someone like you exists. You are incredible. I can't believe this, the way that you make me feel. I've never felt this way before. That is indicators because it's like, you don't know me.
Right.
And then the difference between that steady thing is couple conversations throughout the week. Not every day, maybe about every other day, every 2 days.
Okay.
Don't do the 3-day rule. That's a manipulation tactic, and women know about that one now.
I agree with that also. I don't think that people should do that, especially if you meet somebody one day and they go, I got to wait X amount of times to come. No.
You don't got to do that.
No.
If you wouldn't want a woman to do that to you, don't do that to a woman.
That's great you say that. I always use that exact same analogy. Like I was at a party once with this girl that I just started to date, and this one guy had a drink, and he's like, oh, why don't you have some of this? And she's like, no, come on, just come here, have some. So he's like having her drink it from that. And I'm like, no, don't give it to her because like it was like a very strong alcohol.
Yeah.
I'm like, don't do it. And she's drinking. I'm like, what are you doing? You know, afterwards, I'm like, you know, that's not really cool. I said, would you have liked that if I was talking to a girl?
Yeah. Forcing me to drink.
She goes, no, I wouldn't. I said, well, there you go. So I do that a lot of if I don't want that done to me, you know, I don't do it to them.
Exactly. And that's actually good too, because then when you see it in other people, watch those behaviors. Because if you're having to correct someone's behaviors a lot and you're going, wait, but I wouldn't do that, then you might be around someone that's not a good fit for you.
Right.
They could be a good person, but a good person and a good heart doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of my biggest lessons. It's the reason why good people do messed up things by accident, because trauma will kick your butt until you heal it.
I didn't know that. Someone that fail and they repeat these mistakes, you're saying that how do you shift their mindset so they don't keep doing these? For example, I know somebody who drank.
Yeah.
And this person, her father had died when she was 2 years old. Okay. She was like 35 at the time.
Oh, yeah.
And so when she was 2, her father died. Now, her mother never drank. Nobody around her drinks. But she was drinking. She's like, I'm an alcoholic because my father was an alcoholic.
Oh, but she was just going for it.
I'm like, well, wait a minute. No, he may have been, because he died from alcohol, but you weren't brought up around alcohol.
Right.
You know, so now, but she's using it as a crutch. Like, because of my father, I drink.
Right.
I can't do anything about it. Well, yeah, you can.
Yes, you can.
You're past the age of reason, like 8 or 9 or 10. So now you know that's not right. You know it's bad for you. So don't use it as a crutch. It's in my blood. It's my father, you know.
So here's what I'm going to tell you.
Yes, tell me.
You got the fix it thing in you, which makes you an excellent producer, by the way.
Oh,
yeah, you're really like I watched you do those things. Like you're very like diligent and very like da 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 da. Like I paid attention to that. The thing though is that when we look at that in our love lives, you want to actually do contrary action on that, because that's not going to apply in your love life. Look for the other people who are also fixing their shit. So instead, if you have someone that's playing the victim in their life, and they're drinking when they know. Now, as an alcoholic, I would joke too and it'd be like, alcoholics quit, or like whatever. Like, I'm a drunk, blah, blah. I didn't know that it was a disease. And I was born with it because I didn't want to be like my family. I have a lot of alcoholism and addicts. Right. I had no idea though that when I said no, I wasn't going to drink and I was going to show up for set and I was going to show up for my job. That's when I hit my bottom, was when I said no, I'm not drinking. All of a sudden I turn around and there's a drink in my hand and I'm drunk, wasted, and I'm out for 3-day benders. Just gone for 3 days.
Oh boy.
Or more, weeks at a time. And people wouldn't be able to get a hold of me for months. So I had no idea that it was a disease. It's a cognitive dissonance because you have to own it, because you're like, if I don't say that and just acknowledge and pretend that I'm in charge of this, I'm screwed. So here's what you do. When you see people like that, you actually lovingly and respectfully go, well, listen, I see that you're destroying your life. And that's sad. And when you're ready to get help and when you're ready to stop, hit me up. I'll take you to a meeting.
Because they have to be ready for themselves to do it.
Exactly. People, if they're still getting attention from you and they're still getting your love and affection, even love and affection can look like to them nitpicking and trying to fix them, because that could have been what they grew up with. So you might be repeating their cycle. If you continue to nitpick them or fix them or give them advice or do this or give them money you are enabling them. If you take away someone's pain, you take away their blessings. And also, that was the hardest thing for me when I got sober. I still wanted to help people, but I noticed that some of the people that I was trying to help and give advice to, they didn't want to hear the advice. They just wanted to complain. Yeah. So lovingly, I've had to be on the phone call with some people and go, I love you. It is so painful. And people write this down. I love you. It is so painful for me to watch someone I care about destroy their lives and not do anything about it. Because you have so much potential and you're just ruining it. And it's sad to see and it's painful. I can't be around this anymore because it's devastating. So I need to walk away from this because it's killing me. And when you're ready and when you get help, I'm here. But until then, please, I can't have any contact. And I've had a lot of people that have called me back up, and I was so scared to do this. And I've had a lot of people call me back up and they said, thank you. They're sober today.
That's great. Natalie Stavola, everyone. Rock it.